WBOK. WBOK, 12:30 a.m. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. You're hearing our voices, but we want to hear yours, 504-582-9422. I'm Will Sutton, and this is Chief Eddie Compass.
I'm here to hear you.
Well, welcome, everybody. We hope you had a good weekend. Hope your week is starting off strong. I know mine is, just because the Lord let me wake up and put my feet on the floor. So that's a good way to start. I hope your day is going even better than that. Happy to be here with you today. And what a week, what a week, what a week. But let's talk about what y'all know I got to talk about. October 11th, there is an election coming up. There is an election coming up. It is October 11th, and we got a number of dates that are important. But let me just say that the spring was interesting as we got word that somebody might be running, then who's not running, who is running, that kind of thing. Then we got qualifying in July, and then these are people putting their name out there. And then campaigns start heating up. Well, now it's like really, really heating up. So we're down to the last few weeks, and now is definitely a time to start paying attention. So that election is October 11th, and the early voting starts on September 27th. But if you're not registered, you've still got time to register to vote by in person or by mail, and that deadline is September 10th. And you can also register online by September 20th. But please, please, please don't wait until September 20th, and definitely don't wait until October 11th, because they're not going to let you vote unless you are registered to vote. So we got big elections on October 11th. Mayor, city council, multiple seats. Only one seat is not being challenged. That's District B. And we got assessor, we got sheriff, we got clerk. So we got a lot of things to be considered and a lot of candidates to consider. There are multiple forums and debates that are happening, but October 11th, that is the big day. Huh, Chief Eddie?
Oh, yes. Let me tell you, when you think about the power that we have as the people in a society in which we live in, democracy is paramount. When you think about the sacrifices that those that came before us made for this right to vote, and when you think about people died, actually gave their lives to give us the opportunity to vote, it is upon us to pick up the torch and use it, because that's true power. If you want to change a system, you got to infiltrate that system and become part of that system. And the way you become part of that system, become a registered voter and an individual who exercises their right to vote. So that's why it is imperative that we get out and vote.
Absolutely, positively. So, registration is just a step, but it's pretty darn amazing how many people we have registered, not just in New Orleans, but across this state. They're registered and still don't vote. I mean, that is not the way for us to have the strongest democracy possible. Because when you don't vote, you are voting. And then, you might want to complain about what's going on, but you didn't take the opportunity to have a say if you're eligible. If you're eligible, you got to be 18 and you got to be registered to take that opportunity. So please, please, please make sure that our Black Power is put in place by wherever you live. You're eligible to vote. If you're registered, you're eligible to vote on not just one, two, or three, but on multiple offices, and you can have a say. And you can have a say with who's going to lead this city that is a parish, for the next 4 years. So October 11th, and don't forget to register to vote. We've got quite a show ahead for you. We got news that you need and should know and want to know. We definitely want to hear from you. In the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to hear from Tia Suggs and Lucine Flores, and they are with Dillard University Center for Racial Justice. And if you haven't heard about them, I'm looking forward to this conversation because the faculty, staff, and students over at DU are doing quite a great job focused on racial justice. And they have expanded that term and that phrase to be inclusive of a number of things for those who are engaged, activists, advocacy of various kinds. And so I'm looking forward to talking with Tia Suggs and Lucine Flores. That'll be in the 8 o'clock hour. But right now, we want to talk about a couple of things. One is the week that was.
That was
a week.
That was an incredible week.
That was a week. And I don't know about you, Chief Compass, but, it's one of those things where I was looking forward to seeing how we collectively would handle such a tragedy of an anniversary. I was looking forward to learning some things and hearing more stories. But I was also concerned about how I would get through it because I know there are a lot of you who said, I'm not dealing with it. It's just too much. It's just too much. I don't want, that was then, that is now. I just want things to be better. But, so you weren't at any of these events. I know, I get it. But I wanted to go to some select events and hear other people's stories and to hear about moving things forward. But it had to be different for you and not just like on the actual 29th. And I hope you had a good, happy birthday.
I really did. Troy Henry and Lloyd Craddock, two of my best friends and their wives, joined me and my wife Regina for dinner at Drago's. I'm sorry. It was just, I'm saying Drago's, not Drago's. Oh God, I forgot where I went now.
Fine restaurant.
Fine restaurant in New Orleans on St. Charles. Oh my God.
That's all right.
But it was a great meal.
Yeah.
And but it was just, that was the first time I celebrated my birthday in 20 years.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank the citizens of this city who embraced me and the people who've come up to me in the grocery stores and stuff, say they have no idea what I went through, and I want to thank you personally for being so supportive of me over the last week. And, I'm just blessed to live in a city where the people care so much. And I lost a little bit of myself during Katrina. I think over this last week, I got a little bit of that back. I think
I love seeing you in that shirt.
Yeah. Shout out to Pastor Jonathan, from Rock of Ages. He gave me that shirt.
Yep.
He gave General Honor and I each one. And I want to thank General Honore for celebrating with me. We went through a lot together, and we had a few miscommunications in the early stages, but at the end, we both were fighting for our people, and we both were adamant that we were not, shooting looters, and we both were adamant that our people, no matter what the governor ordered or, the martial laws or whatever, we were not enforcing that, and we were both together on that, and I think we stopped a lot of tragedy from happening. You see, when you think about, what didn't happen, sometimes an inaction is a great action.
Right.
And an
right,
inaction
right,
of
right.
not shooting people who are trying to feed their families. Because I said, if we protect this food, it's going to spoil anyway. So why are we using resources to stop people from feeding themselves? And we're trying to feed the people. There are more reasons. It's not enough. So, and General Honore was on point with that with me also. So, it worked out really well. And I think that bonded us for life. Because we have different personalities and different styles, but we both love this city, love this state, love this country, and we love the people.
So, did you go to many of the events last week, or did you pick and choose, or only the ones where you were asked to participate?
I only went to ones where I asked to participate because by me being the former chief, I did not want to overshadow the event for the people that were there. So I was only going to the events where I was actually invited to, which was numerous.
Yeah, right.
It was numerous,
Yeah.
and it was I tried to try to observe, the people, let them get their stories out because everybody knows my story. I had
Well,
see,
not everybody. Your story is worldwide now. But let me just say in response to that, because it's been 20 years, we have young people who weren't born.
that's true. That's true.
They weren't born. And so they might have heard Grampy or TD or Auntie or Big Mama talk about what they did and talk about the police and talk
Yeah.
about the chief, but maybe they didn't know who this
Right.
Compass guy was.
Right. Yeah.
So you're right. Those of us of a certain age and stage,
That's
we know
true.
your story. But then, one of the things that happened with this particular anniversary is we learned more about your story.
Yeah.
So and I think that was a part of your processing
Right.
each year
Right.
and reaching the 5th anniversary and a 10th anniversary and a 15th anniversary and a 20th anniversary. So I'm certainly not you, and we appreciate everything that you did the days leading up to Katrina and then the storm surge after and all the aftermath that
Yeah.
happened. But I hope that last week uh, gave you some strength and some confidence that you did the best that you could and that you did a good job and that the city is better for it. And so that you can move into the next 5 and the next 10 and the next 15 and the
Right.
next 20 with a little different perspective.
Yeah. I want to thank Robert Blakes and Samuel Blakes, from New Home, because in year one, they were the only ones that reached out to me. And, a lot of people are reaching out to me now. But when I was being tried, convicted, and sentenced on innuendo, supposition, conjecture, they came forward and they honored me. And they took a lot of heat for that. And I want to really publicly thank them. And like I said, like Bishop Martin was right there with me, Bishop Wiley, Pastor Luda, Bishop Brista. These people were so supportive of me, and I just thank them because they got me through it.
Yep.
God got me through it, but He used them.
Yep.
And now in the 20th year, the truth is out. The young pastors like Jonathan at Rock of Ages, he was a little kid
That's
back
right.
during
Absolutely.
Katrina, and
Absolutely.
he thought, to honor me, which was, great, like Tom Watson, he was there with me from the beginning, all the way through for the last 20 years, So when you think about these great men of God And people ask me, well, how you still standing? How you endured? Every time I fell, they picked me up. And, I humbled myself to them, and, I think God wanted to use me as an example to show how you get up, because I'm just a regular person from 6th Ward, went to St. Aug, I didn't come from a rich family or anything,
Right.
Big Duck, tambourine fan, Don Hubbard, those are the people who influenced me through life. And they always put their hands on me. And they always said, young man, you have to be a man all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that community had wrapped their arms around me and prepared me for that moment. And when that moment came, I thank God that I was able to stand up for what was instilled in me by these great people that have raised me. And, Bishop Martin used to always tell me the truth is going to come out. You just got to stay still. Mm-hmm. And I stayed still, and the truth came out, and I feel vindicated, and I feel blessed, and I feel humbled. And I want to just thank everybody in this city for just wrapping your arms around me, because I love my city. And like I said, Spike Lee, he took it to another level for me. We had the Netflix screening, and Spike Lee, he told me, well, his executive director told me, he said that when that guy referred to our people as refugees, and I said, first of all, they're not refugees.
Right.
They are the men and women citizens of New Orleans. He said that was like a game changer, and that made me feel good.
Right. All right. Well, we'll touch on some more post-Katrina anniversary things after the break, and we got a lot of news to cover as well. Some local news, regional news, and some national news. So you should stay tuned to the Good Morning Show right here on WBOK 1230 AM. Remember, you're hearing our voices. You're hearing Eddie and Will, but we want to hear Shirley and Suzanne and Jacqueline and and Sammy and Ken and some of everybody else. 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, the station that New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Tuesday morning, I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. The search continues for a boater who went missing near the causeway on Sunday. The boater has not been identified, but deputies say he went overboard on Sunday after crashing into the causeway. It's a joint effort between many different agencies that are searching for the water and even the air. Weather made the search more challenging yesterday with strong currents on the lake. Deputies in Jefferson Parish investigate two separate shootings, one in Avondale and the other in Harvey. Investigators say a 24-year-old was shot and killed on Aberdeen Street, and another man, who has not been identified, was killed on Highway 90. Family identified one of the victims as Tupac Shakur Robinson. They believe he was in his car when he was shot, and think the person who may have pulled the trigger may have been driving a separate vehicle. Deputies urge anyone with information that can assist in their investigation to contact the JPSO. Today marks the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Japan signed a formal surrender on September 2nd, 1945. The signing ceremony was held on the deck of a battleship USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. Americans celebrated in the weeks before after President Harry Truman announced Japan's surrender from the White House in August. World War II was one of the deadliest and most destructive conflicts in history. It also marks the only time a nuclear weapon has ever been used in warfare. And no one was holding the winning ticket for last night's Powerball drawing. The Powerball has now jumped to $1.3 billion. The next chance to win big will be on Wednesday. The odds of winning are 1 in 292 million. So you're saying there's a chance. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by FidelityWealthManagement.com. Sports franchise valuations are skyrocketing and garnering a lot of attention from investors. Nicole Poland Ross is one of the highest ranking black women on Wall Street, and she's head of sports and entertainment solutions at Goldman Sachs. And she spoke to Bloomberg about the different investors she works with in sports.
Some of our clients who are long-term investors in the space have been investing as a private family for generations. And those families have really leaned in mostly around passion. And we're seeing them look not only to the sport that they may have started with, but look at multiple sports, potentially in a same city or potentially across the world. And we see new investors who are trying to put a toe in the water.
A lot of these new investors are coming from private equity. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Lowe's knows you've got a job to do, and we help get it done. With the MyLowe's Pro Rewards program, eligible members save more with volume discounts on qualifying orders through a quote of $2,000 or more. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer can't be combined with any other discount, contract, and/or special pricing. Exclusions, more terms, and restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
New Orleans, are you ready? A fresh voice in the city is here, bringing you the beats, the culture, and the stories that matter. From local music and food to real talk on what's happening in the streets. We've got you covered. Stay tapped in. Follow us on all platforms at WBLK 1230 for the latest updates and exclusive content. Your city, your culture, your news. Don't just hear about it, be about it. Follow WBLK 1230 now.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton, and this is Eddie Compass. We're here. You're hearing our voices, and we would like to hear yours at 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Of course, we had a really big week last week and on into the weekend, and there were some really good sessions, programs, even entertainment related to that. I was very pleased to see and happy to see that CES 45 did it once again. I mean, what he does is every single year.
Right.
It wasn't special this year. It was just made more special with the likes of Vice President Al Gore showing up for his event, our event on the anniversary. And there were others, but, it was a big deal to hit the 20th anniversary. And I was really happy to see so many people turn out for the march, the second line, the wreath laying for the event over at Hunters Field. Really nice to see the turnout. And, with all of those folks, it was easily hundreds and I think thousands who were out there. I hope that all those who participated and all those who saw the media coverage realize that the purpose of that is not to celebrate what happened, but to remember what happened and to keep that memory alive, not with the idea of reliving the trauma over and over again, but to make sure people who didn't experience it or people who weren't born know what the word Katrina means and use it as a propeller of sorts to move us along.
When we look at Katrina, I always am a student of history, and if we don't learn from history, we're destined to repeat it. And one of the things we did, we were the guinea pigs for the entire United States, or maybe even the world, on handling a natural disaster. And, you know, we took a lot of criticism for the things that we did not do perfectly, but we did a lot of good things.
I was going to say, I mean, you know what? I mean, this is one of those things where, you know, I wrote a column about Hurricane Katrina. And the kind of the focus of it was this a natural disaster or a man-made disaster?
Right.
You know, because there were definitely things man could have done better.
Right.
Before Katrina, which has nothing to necessarily say about the people who dealt with it at the time. That's part of it.
Right.
But there were things that did not happen before that man could have done. Because I like to tell people that I was not here for Katrina. So I didn't have that levee break experience. But I was here for Betsy and Camille, and I had those levee breaks experience.
Right.
And so I felt like, even though I was a kid, I was like paying attention to news. I felt like they told us this would not happen again because they fixed it.
But
obviously,
but they didn't.
Obviously, not so. And so I think it's important to use those experiences, like you said, in history, to learn what we can do better. And then for the people who were a part, and because you were so intimately involved, I'm going to move it away from you for a moment. You know, there are other people who should have done stuff.
Oh, yes, very much
that they didn't
so.
do.
Yes, sir.
That they did not do.
Right.
And if they had done those things, I'm not saying we wouldn't have lost more than 1,300 or 1,800 people, but maybe it would have been in the hundreds.
I totally agree.
Or maybe it would have been in the scores because of things they did not do. So I think what Seth does is important annually, and I know he's not stopping.
Yeah.
So on the 21st, there will be Katrina activity, and it might just be Seth, but and his team. But there's gonna be a 21st anniversary. It might not be a week to week and a half of things, but I'm glad more people, paid attention to this. And of course, one of the big things was the Week of Action, which happened in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, and quite a number of activities, actually day and night, in and around New Orleans. And then the K20 Summit on Saturday at Gallia Hall, the Mayor LaToya Cantrell's K20 Summit. For those who were not able to make the K20 Summit or some of the other activities, events, not everything was open to the public, but a lot of things were. And of those things that were, and some things that weren't open to the public, they were filmed, they were videotaped. So you can do a search for them and find them. For instance, the K20 Summit on Saturday, the things that were in the big room, not everything in each room, but the things in the big room were videotaped, and those are available online. I believe you can get to them through katrina20.nola.gov. I'm pretty sure the main video is right there in the center of that homepage, but you can also do it, take a look at it via YouTube as well. So I was pleased to see education of youth investments in New Orleans, with a Katrina twist. Happy to talk about affordable housing and housing in New Orleans and the region, and where we were versus where we are. Talk about the number of people that we lost, and not through death, but lost in population, more than 120,000 people, and the type of folks that we have moving in, kind of looking in the demographics, and looking at tourism, looking at Katrina through tourism eyes. So, for instance, we're back at pre-COVID numbers with tourism just this last year. So that's taken a while. But some of that was the impact of Katrina and losing so many people and losing elements of who we are and the culture as well. Those were some of the things that were covered and talked about during that time.
You know, when you look at Katrina, a lot of our people work in hospitality, and they have such a great skill set. When they went to other cities, they were they were sought after, and they were elevated. They were given better benefits and better pay, so they didn't come back. So we lost a lot of institutional knowledge in that industry, which is one of our biggest industries. So you know, when you look at Katrina, it had effects that far outreached. You know, just to debt and destruction. From an economic standpoint, you had families that were fragmented, whereas they left and they never came back. Like my daughter went to Atlanta, and she's still in Atlanta. You know, she hasn't come back, and my grandkids are there. You know, so you know, I look at Katrina as something that really impacted the city from a holistic standpoint, not just from you know the debt and destruction that we always talk about, that which is so certainly important that we highlight all the time. But when you think about just from an educational standpoint, how many of our kids were moved around academically, and how that basically stagnated some of their development from an academic standpoint. You know, when you look at kids, you know, I don't think they've ever did an assessment or longitudinal research design to show the effects on the academics. Because when you think about a kid being moved around, maybe they weren't, you know, elevated to the next grade because they couldn't get the curriculum, because basically there was so many inconsistencies being taught at so many different schools and so many different, you know, teachers. So these are things that have basically been disseminated throughout, you know, the last 20 years. You know, when you look at a kid, say they were in 8th grade during Katrina, they were 13, they're 33 years old now. I wonder what positions are they in right now. You know, high school students. You know, I always use Chad Jones as an example because I'm very close to his dad. This kid was the #1 rated football player in the state. And he had to bounce around and bounce around and bounce around. I mean, now he went to LSU and starred, and unfortunately he was in a bad auto accident that stopped him from being a Hall of Famer because he got drafted by the New York Giants. But that one kid's whole life changed tremendously because of Katrina, you know, and how many other athletes that affected. You know, so, you know, we have a lot of long-term impact from Katrina that we got to get over.
Yep. Well, you know, got an election coming up.
Oh, yes.
October 11th. So part of what I hope everybody will do is be registered to vote and cast your ballot for the candidate of your choice in October. And you can use this Katrina experience of this past week and a half, as a part of deciding which candidates come closest to what you think should be done in the next 4 years. And I want to put it out there that, you know, some people are running for re-election, and some people are running for election for the first time, and some people are running for re-election, meaning that they have served publicly previously, but not currently in that office, and then looking to regain that office. But one of the things that you can do is think about what has happened, what we want to continue to see happen since Katrina, and then what are the things that it seems like we just can't get on top of, and you want people to pay attention to these things. So it may not be Katrina specific, but maybe there are remnants of what happened then, and you want to see that people pay attention to it, and pay attention to it in a way that you are most comfortable that they will work on it and work on it daily, because you can't, because you have a job, or maybe you got 2 jobs, or maybe you got 2 jobs and 5 kids, and maybe you got more bills than you have a month, you know. So who do you want to trust with that, and ask them the hard questions, and attend some of these events, some of these forums, some of these debates, and ask them questions. You can use the word Katrina if you like, but you don't have to. You can use what you experienced with Katrina and ask about infrastructure. Right. You can ask about infrastructure on your street, in your neighborhood, and in the schools and churches where you go to. You can ask about infrastructure and within the context of levees and drainage. Everything isn't the result of a big, massive hurricane. You lived in New Orleans any length of time, you know it rains and then it floods.
Oh,
in
very
a
much
lot
so.
of different places. So you can do that and ask these folks some questions. Ask them about what they have done related to Katrina, no matter what age that they were at the time, because if you're blessed with more life, then you have had some experiences since Katrina, whether you were a part of it or not, and ask these folks who want your vote what they have done and what they can do to move things forward. But I hope you will take a look at some of the workshops and the programs that were part of the K-20 program last week and this past weekend. There's some very rich, valuable content. And, you can listen and hear some people's stories, but you can also listen and hear some deep dive into the data and see what the data shows and look at some solutions-based conversations and figure out kind of where you fit and where you want your leaders to fit as we look at what's coming up in the next year, the next 4 years. And in some of these cases, it might be that you elect somebody for one term, you evaluate them, and you elect them for another term. So in some of those cases, it might be 8 years for a particular role. So, but that's not going to be my decision. I'm going to have my votes, but you're going to have your votes if you are registered to vote. And registered vote and then vote. One of the things that happened at the K-20 summit was that we heard from Mayor LaToya Cantrell and a number of folks who were on the ground back in 2005, and then other people who became a part of this effort of recovery. And you mentioned his name last week, and you mentioned his name today. And if you've been around any bit of time, you know the name General Russell Honore. And I thought the General had some comments that we should share with you. And of course, if you've heard the General talk unedited and in public and not on FCC airwaves, there's some things that we just can't play.
He's very passionate.
He's very passionate. Very passionate. Very passionate. But we've got some of his comments that our super producer, Naren Sanders, has ready to go. So I want you to hear from General Honore.
As I have trust in our flood protection system, and we're in better shape, but it's built for what they call a Category 3, which doesn't necessarily translate into the amount of surge we're going to get. And you need to learn that word, surge. And if people come here, got to learn a lot of your words. We got to learn that term surge because the water comes in and it can overtop the levees. Mother Nature can break anything built by man. Your grandmama taught you that. You can build a 21-foot levee and a 25-foot surge come in. You got that figured out. You can flood again. So when the mayor and the leadership said it's time to evacuate, evacuate. Because there are very few safe places in this town. And I know you got your old uncle who comes around at Thanksgiving and will tell you, it's just a Category 2, I ain't leaving for that. I'm going to stay here and watch.
So what do you think came next? Yeah, we had Naren had to cut it off at that point.
Yeah. Good job, Naren.
Yeah, right. But, General made some good points. So, we made some improvements. But, when we prepare to deal with a Category 1, and then we have a 2 or 3, or we prepare to deal with a 3, and we got a 4 or 5, we got some other things to look at.
So when you look at it from that perspective, the General is being an individual who's getting you ready. We don't want to relax because we're a lot better than we were, much, much better than we were.
Yep.
But he's letting you know that Mother Nature, she don't play. And like when people always say Father Time is undefeated, so is Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm.
She can beat anything man can make. So we always have to be vigilant. We always have to be prepared, and we always have to be ready. And I think the lessons we learned from Katrina is, it's much better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah. Yep. So obviously the general was there to deliver a keynote address, and if he had the opportunity for another hour or two, he could have talked even more. But what are some of the things you think he was talking about with doing a better job preparing? Because we're still in hurricane season.
Oh, very much.
The anniversary of Katrina has come and gone, but we are still in hurricane season for several weeks. So what are some of the things that you think the general might have talked about if he had more time in terms of preparing for this hurricane season and future?
Well, I think every family must have their own hurricane plan because we're all unique. Everybody's situation is different. If you have elderly people, you have to make preparations to move them quickly. If you have young kids, you have to make preparations to move them quickly. You got to make sure your vehicle is ready to go during hurricane season. Vehicles are extremely important. You have to make sure you have the provisions and stuff to, sustain a long time away from home. There's certain finances that's in place, like an emergency fund. Then if you're going to stay here and try to hunker it down, you make sure you have to have the type of things like the flashlights, candles, batteries, generators, food that's not perishable, water. These are the things that you have to take in mind, but I don't recommend anybody trying to hunker it down because one of the biggest challenges we had was trying to go get people who hunkered down. And we used a lot of manpower and a lot of resources getting people off of roofs that we could have been using for life-saving.
Well, Chief, it's New Orleans, so there are people who like the idea of hurricane parties, and some of us use the storm winds as a gauge of how long to stay, or saying that I don't care if it's 120 miles per hour, I'm just going to stay. And then others use like the category. So, category 1, I'm good. Category 2, I'm good, but I'll be prepared. At what point do you think people should get up and go?
Well, we have to listen to our weather people because I'm not an aficionado on weathers. But for me, whenever the powers that be, the people who have the skill set to let you know that the danger's coming, with it probably will overwhelm some of the things that we have in place, and they say evacuate, I would evacuate.
So don't wait on the mandatory.
Don't wait on a mandatory. Don't wait on a mandatory.
Because a lot of people waited on the mandatory, then they got stuck in
And
traffic. They only had a quarter of a tank of gas.
Right.
They might have had some crackers in the car.
And that's it. That's what I said. Everybody's different and every situation is different, but I would rather be safe than sorry. So I'd rather leave before I have to than trying to leave at the last minute.
I hear you. You're listening to WBOK, 1230 a.m., the Good Morning Show. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Did you go to any of the K20 events last week or this past weekend? What did you experience? What did you see? What did you hear? There's some things you like, dislike. We'd like to hear from you. 504-582-9422. And there's a lot of stuff going on, folks. And so we're going to be getting into some of the news. We're probably going to take a few more minutes, talk about the week that passed. And then we're going to look at what's happening with storms and disasters and kind of some man-made debates and philosophies right here on WBOK. 12:30 a.m., the station that New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
A front just south of us means most spots stay dry today with only a quick shower along the coast and some possible inland. Highs today near 90, but it won't feel as sticky north of I-10. Tonight, mostly clear in the 70s. Looks similar tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs back in the 90s. Less chances for rain throughout the rest of the week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor. We're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
At New Orleans East Hospital, we believe healthcare should come with heart. Located at 5620 Reed Boulevard, we proudly serve the New Orleans community with compassion, courtesy, and a commitment to excellence. From healing to education, we want to be your trusted healthcare partner that's close to home. New Orleans East Hospital, delivering a culture of healthy care.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. This is Will Sutton, and this is
Chief Eddie Compass. I'm here to hear you.
All right. You're listening to the Good Morning Show on WBOK 1230 AM. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-9422. If you went to any of the Katrina programming last week, we'd love to hear what your perspectives are, what you experienced. Did you hear something new that you didn't know before? Did you hear a story that maybe resonated with you in particular? Was there something that you shared that you hadn't shared before, but you saw that as an opportunity? This is the Good Morning Show on WBOK, talk line 504-582-9422. So that summit on Saturday, Chief, it was good. And it was so well organized. And for the people who did go, you could watch it online, but for the people that did go, there was breakfast and lunch.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's worth the price of admission. Which is free.
Yeah, there was breakfast and lunch. Delfeo Marsalis played the national anthem on trombone.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
He's incredible.
It was really, really, really tremendous. And St. Peter Claver's choir, like it had to be their whole choir. They didn't just fill up the stage. They fill up the stage and off stage on both sides.
Oh yeah, they big.
And I mean that has been a delight anytime you go to St. Peter Claver or anytime you can catch them at Jazz Fest or any place else. And so they were there and they sang. And Blair joined them for one of the songs. Oh, my goodness. It was so good.
Well, I went to Peter Claver for grammar school. And Nat Brooks is one of the lead singers for the choir. So he can roll. He can roll.
Yeah. Yep. So that was really, really, really good. And, hey, Naren, I got a question for you. Naren, can I... If I have something on my phone, could I put it to the mic, or do I need to give it to you? Okay. All right. So.
All right. Well, I got it from here. We definitely don't want any technical differences, but when you think about Katrina and what the city did to commemorate it, we're very, very fortunate that the mayor and her staff put such an informative event together. And because I always say if we have something in place like that and people are given opportunity to share their experiences and some of the things that they did right and some things they think they did wrong, people are going to gain knowledge from that, and we won't repeat a lot of mistakes that we made. So the mayor's office should be saluted for what they did putting that summit on.
Yeah, it was amazing, and Wood did a great job, and there were some impromptu things that happened, and it was, I mean, they were just rolling. It was just rolling. And for there were, well, let's put it this way. I got there before the program started, and the other than the designated seats for the folks who are part of the K-20 Commission and a couple other groups. The place was packed, and there were people out in the hallways and on the steps, and it was a nice day considering was this anniversary of this horrific situation that happened, and it was a good context for moving things forward, and a delight to include the celebration of the culture as well. So that was good to see, and it's good to hear that diversity of voices as well. So is that we okay with that one, or we need a couple of minutes? Okay, all right. So we're going to need a couple of minutes on that, but I do want to have a couple of things more to share with you all about that. But we would like to hear from you. 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. I want to remind you that we've got Tia Suggs and Lucine Flores with Dillard University Center for Racial Justice coming up. So if you want to hear from a university perspective, from a student perspective, young people's perspective about racial justice, we're going to be engaging in that conversation very soon. And I want to make sure that y'all know about some other things that are going on in our world, and that includes the devastation that was experienced in Afghanistan, where an earthquake has destroyed lots of villages and killing about 800 people. And that's just the people that the earthquake killed. There's more than 2,500 people who were injured. That's a lot of people. 2,500 injured, 800 people dead, 6.0 magnitude earthquake. It happened late Sunday, so people were just hearing about it as they woke up this morning. And this was in a couple of their towns, so it was across Kunar and Jalabad and another province that I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to butcher that one. But in some of these cases, villagers were saying there, and so let's keep in mind, village, it doesn't mean like 3-4 houses.
Right.
So it might be a whole housing development here, right, or in some cases a town in our terms. But near all of some of these villages were destroyed by this magnitude 6.0 earthquake. So a different type of natural disaster. And I mean, I just don't know how you plan for an earthquake of that magnitude other than to have reinforced building structures. And then in some places like Afghanistan, parts of Afghanistan are more urban, but a lot of places are like this. I mean, so what are you going to do?
We have those bucolic environments where you have, rural areas where there's no infrastructure to actually support the type of buildings you would need to sustain that type of devastation from an earthquake. It's very challenging. And the big challenge is once the earthquake happens, getting help, because the roads are decimated, and you have situations where there's very limited helicopter support, limited support from various distribution centers, because you can't get the food, they can't get the supplies to the people. And then you're talking about medical supplies to deal with the injured. You have to fly doctors in, you have to fly nurses in. It's very challenging. So when you say those numbers, that 800 people killed and 2,500 injured, when you think about it, you're not taking in consideration those people who are not injured or killed, but they still have to sustain, life on a daily basis. So you're going to have to bring food in, you're going to have to bring shelter in, so it's very, very, it's a Herculean task dealing with something of that magnitude.
Yep. So so we pray for those folks. That's one of those cases where it doesn't matter your melanin, your language, your politics, or that you have no politics.
Right.
These are human beings.
Right.
And we shouldn't want that for anybody. So we're gonna take a break, and then when we come back, we're gonna touch on just a little bit more on what we saw and heard on Saturday, and in the next hour we'll hear from Tia Suggs, Lucine Flores with Dillon University Center for Racial Justice. You're listening to WBOK, 12:30 a.m., the station that New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans. Join New Schools for New Orleans, All-State Sugar Bowl, and Integer New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 4th annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. The gala will take place Saturday, November 1st at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. This year's gala will feature New Orleans legend DJ Jubilee. Don't miss out on this intimate celebration supporting our New Orleans public school teachers. Tickets can be purchased on our website, newschoolsforneworleans.org.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump says Washington, D.C. is now a crime-free zone after a federal law enforcement surge. He praised Black Mayor Muriel Bowser for cooperating, and here's what she had to say about the progress.
This is what we think in just a couple of weeks of experience has worked. Having more federal law enforcement officers on the street.
President Trump urged other Democratic leaders to follow her lead. Ladarius Butler, a Black father from Aurora, Colorado, is suing police after they swarmed him with guns and tasered him in front of his kids. Officers tracked him after he left a hospital with his son over medical disagreements. The charges were dropped, but Butler says the trauma remains. And Nicki Minaj is teasing a collab with pop star Sabrina Carpenter. After sharing Carpenter's new song on Instagram, Minaj replied, "Don't worry," to a Vogue executive asking about a team-up. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 8:04 a.m. You got someplace to be at 8:15. Oh, it depends on where you live. But 8:30 you might have a little time. But keep WBOK on, listening to the Good Morning Show on your AM radio or on internet or on Facebook Live, unless you're driving. So don't be watching us while you're driving. You can listen on the radio or the internet, but don't look at that Facebook while you're driving. So this is Will Sutton, and this is Eddie Compass with me. And we've got guests here today from DU, the Gentilly Gym.
That's right.
Dillard University.
Yes.
And we've got Tia Suggs, the top project manager for Dillard University Center for Racial Justice. And we also have Paris Allen, a junior at Dillard University. So I'm going to give you a little connect here. All right? We never met, right?
Right.
We haven't met, right?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So there would be no Will Sutton without Dillard University.
I've definitely heard of you.
And I didn't go to Dillard University, but I frequently studied at Dillard University. Any idea why?
Because you were partying at Dillard University?
Because I what?
Partying at Dillard
No.
University? Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, sometimes.
See?
But that was later in life. So there was this guy out of Monticello, Mississippi, and this New Orleans sister who out of New Orleans. They both chose Dillard University. And one thing led to another. Little sparks fly. Some sparks flew. And next thing you know, there's a Will Sutton.
A little Will Sutton. A little Will Sutton.
Oh,
My mama and daddy went to Dillard University.
Wow.
So this was in the 50s. So my daddy was on the football team.
Wow.
Okay.
At Dillard.
Dillard had
That's
football.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was like,
And he
dang.
was the captain of the football team. My mama was the captain of the cheerleaders.
Just like in the movie.
My,
Right, I'm about to
my
say a little
daddy was and is an Omega. My mama was a Delta Sigma Theta sorority sister. And my mama was Miss Dillard.
Wow.
Oh, you got
So,
Wait.
I got it.
Wow.
And,
That's
I'm connected to Dillard. I was an adjunct professor at Dillard University in criminal justice. I work with Dr. Wiltz, and I'm a member of your organization with Dr. Ishmael.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we deal it out. We deal it out.
Yes.
Lou Debo.
Yes.
Gleaming white in space.
Yes.
How about that?
The only thing is, Will talked about the Omegas. I got to talk about the Kappa Alpha
right.
Psi, Phi Nu Pi till the day we die. I got plenty of friends that's Omegas, but
Yep.
Phi Nu Pi till the day I die.
All right. So let's hear a little bit about each of you. So you're the project coordinator, project manager
Yes.
at the center. How long have you been there? And what's your role?
I've been there for 4 years now. And with my role, I kind of work with the students, with partnering them with community organizations and businesses. We provide a paid internship for them to do that work in the community. We really want to work
All
with
for the pay.
nonprofits. All for the we have to incentivize. We have to
Experience
incentivize.
and pay.
Yes, so we do work on that. We have a scholarship program that offers them $5,000 to create a social impact project. We've had an art exhibit. One student, she went to different juvenile justice centers and did a Is All That I Am a Delinquent poem, and they all did their own version of it. It was really nice, and we did. So they all have different projects, and they all have different visions on what will make a positive impact on the community.
Wow. Okay. So, Mr. Allen, you're a junior and you're affiliated with the Center for Racial Justice?
Yes, I'm affiliated with the Center of Racial Justice, which was crazy is because I served as Mr. Freshman my freshman year, and now I am serving as Mr. Junior. So I'm a two-time HBCU king. So my sister served as the 86 Miss Dillard University. So there's a lot of great history with
y'all in the house. Y'all in the house.
We run deep in the house. So
yeah.
I am a junior public health major. from LaPlace, Louisiana. Like I said, I serve as Mr. Junior, but I also am a Vote HBCU fellow. So we partner up with HBCUs around the country, nonpartisan, but we want students to be civically engaged on their campuses. So we're working on that, and the tour is coming to Dillard this week. Yes, the tour is coming to Dillard this week, and it's going to be amazing. We'll have a yard talk from 12 to 2. And at 7 p.m., we have a few great speakers who will be there. One is Bishop Brandon Boutan, the senior pastor of United Fellowship. Our SGA president, Ms. Lucine Flores. We have Tia will also be on the panel as well. We also have high school student Malachi. He is a student at St. Aug.
Oh yeah, I know.
He's a graduated senior.
That little brother is engaged.
Yes,
He's the president of the United
definitely
States.
engaged.
I call him little Obama.
Yeah,
that's little Obama.
Yeah, so we have him come in, and I'm grateful that he accepted the opportunity to come and be with us. But it's going to be an amazing time, and we hope to see the community there. We are inviting everyone. The doors is open to everyone in our auditorium, George's Auditorium. So it's going to be a great event. Thursday, September 4th.
Okay, Thursday, September 4th.
Yes.
And both events will be in George's Auditorium?
The first, the early 12 noon event will be held at on the yard, on our campus.
Yard, okay.
Our spacious green yard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then our evening event will be held in George's Auditorium. So, and we're opening up to the public.
All right, well, since I've known about and been in and of Dillard University for a long time, I know what a yard is, but for the people who haven't been there in a long time, or they actually know where it used to be, y'all might not know. Okay, where is the yard?
The yard is in the middle where the Dillard sign is, but is behind our Kearney building next to Williams. So when you come in, we'll have security guide you to that area. We'll have we also have maps for the people who use maps. Paper maps, actually. Y'all know us young people, we use our cell phones.
If you can't get it on your phone.
If you can't get it on your phone, we got a paper map for you.
Yeah.
But usually many people could use it on their cell phones, and it's going to be a great time. And when you see a lot of cars, you know that's where everything is happening. So
yeah,
it's going to be a great time.
Well, that's two programs, one at 12 noon, that's on the yard, and then the 7 p.m. program at George's. So what's going to be the difference between those two programs? If somebody is flexible and free, and you certainly welcome them for both.
Yeah.
But if somebody has to choose between the two, not that one's better than the other, but what should they expect at 12 noon, and what should they expect at 7 p.m.?
For me, I would say 12 noon is for our HBCU students. Reason being is because our students have to get registered to vote. This election is 20 years after Hurricane Katrina. My parents had to deal with the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, so I understand the importance of voting. When I graduated from high school, we had to register to vote or we wasn't able to graduate. And now, those things have changed tremendously.
That's strong.
You know, our students are not registered to vote, and that's a problem.
And at the college level?
At the college level.
Oh, wow.
Many students are not registered to vote. And those who are registered to vote, they're registered to vote back home. And many of those students live in California, Chicago, and they are here in New Orleans most of the time because
During
they're
the
here
election cycle,
they're here from August to December. Then they go home, and then they come back in January.
So they missed the election.
But
can't
home.
they mail in the votes? I'm pretty sure they can mail in the vote,
They can
right?
actually change their address and change their stuff to New Orleans so they can be able to register to vote here. So we're giving students the option to do that if they would like to.
Which I have friends who've done that. Like I have a friend, she's in D.C., and she wanted to vote, so she just changed because it would have been too complicated trying to fly back and forth. You know, and it's a lot of money.
And expensive.
Yes.
The proverbial bureaucratic quagmire.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
Yeah. So,
and it's a lot of effects, you know, with the mail-in ballot. I personally, no shade to anyone who do it, but I personally don't trust it because of the president we have in the country now, and they're changing up some things. So I feel that students have to. I would rather them march to the polls, and that's something we're planning on doing. We're going to march to the polls as a university because young people are leading the way in so many areas, and a lot of people don't even know it. You know,
and that's something that has been something that Dillard University students have done.
Yeah.
Because of where the polling place is right down the street.
Yeah.
Just beyond the pond. And so you can easily kind of have a gathering point, whether it's at the front DU sign or right on the street by the bus stop.
Right.
And then walk on down as a group. And so people, it also helps lift awareness that, well, what are they doing?
Right.
Where those?
Yeah, where them young people going?
Because they're not walking into the campus. They're like, where are they going?
Right.
And so it helps elevate the consciousness of people generally who might not be thinking about voting. So I'm glad to hear that that will continue.
Yes.
So I hear you. Vote HBCU.
Yes.
And so this is being held at Dillard University.
It's a
but
tour.
you want HBCU students, not just Dillard students,
Yes.
to come
Yes.
on Thursday at noon.
We're welcoming
and
everyone.
get registered and
Yes.
just to talk about participating in the electoral process.
And we'll also have our Divine Nine. They have their tables, so the Kappas will be, in the building.
Looking,
the Alphas will be in the building.
looking good.
Yeah, so we'll have those organizations on campus helping registering people to vote. It's not just a one-man show. We're all working together, pulling for this election to make sure that it goes well and making sure our students are voting.
So Tia, how do you see this event for getting people registered to vote and engaged in the process, being a part of racial justice?
Well, one, we're at an HBCU, so we're already helping and supporting the Black students or minority students that we have on campus. So we're giving them a platform and the support. Like personally, I went to UL. I didn't go to an HBCU, so I'm experiencing a whole new life, a whole new world for students that I really wish I would have had, that I would have been exposed to, because it's different. Like going to PWI, it's night and day. So it's like seeing that support. Like these are students doing these events that we're planning. And they are really hands-on. So it's really just giving them that opportunity that I never felt like I would have had at my school, especially with our teachers. Dr. Eshmel, he's very supportive with any endeavor.
That's my man.
Yeah.
That's my man. My man, 50 grand.
Yeah. Here's what I want to know. Does that man ever sleep?
He never.
No.
I'm
we have to get him to, because he
he's
does
at
not
everything.
sleep. Yes.
I'm telling you, man, this dude is like incredible.
Yeah,
he really
incredible.
is.
He does not. I've been telling him, you got to rest sometimes.
Yeah.
Slow it down.
Yep.
But he's
So
a
what kind of
go-go-go.
challenges do you have you seen in the last 4 years, and do you see now just in the last couple, with talking about and teaching about things labeled racial justice, when it seems like some people don't want to hear anything with the R word, race or racial. So
Yeah, I feel like because we're at an HBCU, so we're pretty protected in that sense of like they haven't access to change the name. Like I know some organizations that had to change and rearrange things. Like we haven't really been too targeted on that, but I think it is because we're at an HBCU, so clearly we're gonna do racial justice work. You know, social, racial, it all kind of goes under the same umbrella. But I think that the center, we've not had an issue with the title of our name yet, in a sense. You know,
well, I hope you won't.
Right,
You
with
know,
Trump.
But you know, one of the reasons I ask is not about changing the name as much as the center. In the center's history, you're not really just doing things on the campus of Dillard University.
Oh no, we're out in the
center
community.
is out and about.
Yeah.
And so, have you found any? Have people been receptive or any pushback or?
Oh no, people have been very receptive, especially because we're working with students. So that's like our main goal, really. Like once we're like, oh, we have these students, they're really interested in working. They want them. They're very interested. A lot of our partners actually pay them on top of what we pay them, so they get double pay a lot of the time. So we have a lot of support.
All right.
We're actually partnering with New Orleans Center for Workers' Rights, and we're doing the Warrant Clinic.
Really?
Yes, September 20th.
Tell people what the Warrant Clinic is. So Yeah, in
So,
case they don't.
so we're basically helping Orleans residents, so we have to make that very clear. Orleans parish, reduce their warrants. It's not like completely getting, it's depending on what you have, but helping them with their license. We'll have different organizations and resources. We'll also have voter registration on site as well. But it's really just helping the community with a second chance in whatever, fallback, setback they might have had. So.
Yep. So what drew you, Paris, to the center? So I hear you. You matriculated to become a junior. You got the Mr. This, Mr. That.
Two-time president.
You're involved in other things, but so why add the center?
I would say, for me as a black man, you don't see a lot of black men being more civically engaged, especially on HBCU campuses. Diller is a majority female institution.
As are most of our HBCUs.
Yeah.
So
I only had two African
Morehouse isn't, but for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have so many guys who look up to me, who's like, man, Paris, you're such a great leader, and you're not just you're not just that person outside in front of people. You are that person, the same person behind closed doors. And I would definitely say my pastors have been an amazing example for me behind closed doors and in front of people as well. So that's how I know that's how I shall operate as a man of God as well. And so to answer your question, I would just definitely have to say I just wanted to do more. I just wanted to do more on campus. And I was so passionate about getting students registered to vote because, like I said, we couldn't graduate from my high school without being registered to vote. And hearing people saying, I'm not registered to vote, but you just turned 18 a year ago. That's crazy, So I just was like, this is what I wanted, us to do. And so that was really good for me because I wanted to get out more and help more. Even though I'm a public health major, I'm still able to connect with the Center for Racial Justice because there are so many opportunities. And people don't realize public health and criminal justice and Center for Racial Justice go together. They actually are like cousins. They're family. And so I think that was important for me to tap into that as well.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the interesting things to watch the center's growth. That people hear Center for Racial Justice and they make assumptions, and that their assumption is where the center was, but it's kind of gotten to a different place. I know Chief has a question.
Yeah, and how does the center actually address race with other identities such as gender, sexuality, and class in its program?
We have multiple different events, speakers that Dr. Eschmel or I will find to come and speak with our students. Like we've worked with Planned Parenthood a lot with bringing community health education to young students as young as middle school, teaching them about, like their health, their education. They have like a huge resource library of tools and education for age appropriate, material. And we have speakers that come and talk about their experience in prison and how they've come out and with different ways of their different community endeavors. We've had so many different events. I'm trying to think because, like I said,
I think that's part of the point for the center.
Right.
I mean, you're not allowing what others might think is racial justice.
Right.
To
it's so many different.
It's multifaceted.
Yeah,
right. We've had like Black
and my guess
banks
is that's part of what attracts Paris.
Right.
Students like Paris. It's like, but I'm a public health major. It's like,
right.
Yeah, and
yeah,
we have this for you.
And how do you guys address the gender and sexuality in the programming?
Well, I guess with we have to be respectful of everyone's.
So inclusive.
Inclusive.
Okay.
It's very inclusive.
Okay.
We talk about all type. That's why it's like it's really hard to pinpoint.
Right.
One thing that we do or one-sided because we've had so many different events. Anyone who is really, if you come with us and we meet about this awareness initiative or this program that someone might be doing, like we're the connectors really.
Right.
Like we like to connect our students with what someone else may be going on. They bring it to us, really. And then we'll meet, discuss it, and see how it fits for our students, in a sense.
So it's multifaceted and holistic.
Very, very. Like, we're very open because there's so many things going on. You know, we've even had Linda Sarsour, a human rights activist, come. She's from New York, big time.
Right.
Right.
Our students were amazed. Like, she was very moving. And she came in saying, "I know I'm different. I know,
Didn't Issa Rae come to your school also? Issa Rae,
but that was before me.
Before you,
So
okay.
I didn't get to see it, unfortunately. I heard of Denzel, Michelle. I'm like, I missed the big ones, but
like I said, just being able to teach and be a professor at Dillard was an honor and a privilege for me. And it's like the students are so engaging. I mean, so sagacious and perspicacious. It's incredible. It was really, really very rewarding. And I want to thank you personally for being part of such a great program and going to such a great institution.
Thank you. So we're going to have to wrap up and go to break. But before we do, just a reminder about the good things happening on Thursday. Vote HBCU, 12 noon.
Yes, Vote HBCU and Head Count will be on our campus from 12 to 2. And that evening at 7 p.m., we will have our panel and a night of engagement and networking and connecting as well. So it'll be a great night.
All right. And how can people find out more?
You all can find out more on social media, Vote HBCU, on Facebook or Instagram.
On Facebook, too?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
We're on Facebook. We're on Facebook, yes. Yes, we're on Facebook.
But, of course, it's on Instagram.
Yes, it's definitely on Instagram. Thank y'all.
All right. Anything on TikTok?
No, not TikTok. No.
Instagram. Well, that's where most of y'all are.
Yeah, Instagram.
IG. All right. Well, thank you so much for visiting the Good Morning Show today. Ms. Tia Suggs and Paris Allen from Dillard University Center for Racial Justice. Got a couple of good events happening on Thursday. One is at 12 noon on the Yard at Dillard University, and the other is at 7 p.m. in George's Auditorium. So if you got that in your head and show up ahead of time so you can be there when they start. Don't worry about where to go. They're going to have people there looking out for you, including some printed material.
Right.
To help you
I mean, that iconic sign, Dillard, I mean, that's known all over the world.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We wish you much success with Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. Sounds like a great opportunity for people to learn more about voting and getting engaged and to get registered so they can get ready to vote. Of course, in New Orleans, we've got a big election on October 11th. So, okay, I got it. And you're listening to WBOK, 1230 a.m., the station that New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Hello, friend. Tavis Smiley here with a special announcement. You can catch my show at a new time. Weekdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Same great topics, same great guests, same great conversations, just a little earlier in the day. It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m. only on WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
Good Tuesday morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. The search continues for a boater who went missing near the causeway on Sunday. The boater has not been identified, but deputies say he went overboard on Sunday after crashing into the causeway. It's a joint effort between many different agencies that are searching for the water and even the air. Weather made the search more challenging yesterday with strong currents on the lake. Deputies in Jefferson Parish investigate two separate shootings, one in Avondale and the other in Harvey. Investigators say a 24-year-old was shot and killed on Aberdeen Street, and another man, who has not been identified, was killed on Highway 90. Family identified one of the victims as Tupac Shakur Robinson. They believe he was in his car when he was shot and think the person who may have pulled the trigger may have been driving a separate vehicle. Deputies urge anyone with information that can assist in their investigation to contact the JPSO. Today marks the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Japan signed a formal surrender on September 2nd, 1945. The signing ceremony was held on the deck of a battleship USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. Americans celebrated in the weeks before after President Harry Truman announced Japan's surrender from the White House in August. World War II was one of the deadliest and most destructive conflicts in history. It also marks the only time a nuclear weapon has ever been used in warfare. And no one was holding the winning ticket for last night's Powerball drawing. The Powerball has now jumped to $1.3 billion. The next chance to win big will be on Wednesday. The odds of winning are 1 in 292 million. So you're saying there's a chance. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great day.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine the light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
LifeCare provides valuable whole life insurance to cover final expenses such as medical bills, burial costs, and unpaid debt. A final expense insurance policy is fast, easy, affordable life insurance that's available to anyone between the ages of 50 and 80. No medical exams, no lengthy questionnaires, and no waiting period. The application process is quick and easy. You can even apply without having to undergo a medical examination. Just answer a few questions and we'll do the rest. With the average funeral cost skyrocketing to $11,000 and Social Security only paying $255, you need simple, affordable peace of mind for you and your whole family. Don't leave behind unpaid expenses that, if left unattended, will burden your family tremendously. Benefits include a guaranteed premium that will never increase, a guaranteed cash value, and a guaranteed death benefit that can never decrease. To find out how you can get final expense insurance with a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, call LifeCare at 800-571-9955. That's 800-571-9955. 800-571-9955.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton, and this is Eddie Compass.
I'm here to hear you.
All right, so the talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. We want to hear from you. You know, we were talking about the Katrina events and the K20 summit, and, you know, there were some special moments during that program. This was the official Mayor LaToya Cantrell K20 commemorative summit on Saturday at Gallia Hall. One of the special moments in my mind wasn't when somebody was talking. And so Mr. Narins got it queued up, and so I want you to hear from Delphia Marcellus. Only in New Orleans. Only in New Orleans. Where are you going to hear that kind of national anthem?
Oh, man.
Woo!
That
was great.
That's the most talented family in the world. I mean, even though Went and cheat in chess, he beat me in chess. Urban Mayfield distracted me. I'm still ain't gonna forgive him for that, but he can play the whole family.
So that was a special moment. So there were some other special moments that day, and really appreciated hearing our Mayor LaToya Cantrell address the Katrina issues, and she did so in a couple of different moments during the program on Saturday at Gallia Hall. So didn't want to let the Katrina anniversary go by without hearing from Mayor Cantrell when we are ready to hear some of that. So we'll get to that in a minute. But meanwhile, there are some other things that want to make you. Are we ready? Yeah? Okay. All right. We're ready now. So I was going to tell you about something else. So, all right. So this is Mayor LaToya Cantrell speaking at the K20 Commemorative Summit on Saturday.
Good morning. Good morning. I hope you feel it. You feel like you're home? Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Because I know when I was in Houston, I said I had to get back to New Orleans. So I know I felt it would. Thank you so very much. And coming on home and staying in the Marriott Hotel for over 6 months plus, but organizing with my community leaders when they said, oh no, Broadmoor and 7 other neighborhoods would not come back, we said, oh, all hell broke loose. And it wasn't just us in terms of Broadmoor, it was us as a collective and as the city of New Orleans. So on behalf of our city, thank you for being here, but most importantly, thank you for coming on home. Please join me in just extending a very warm and gracious appreciation for our cultural community who set this place on fire this morning. Let's give it up in every manner. And really today was about creating a day for us to do what we had to do 20 years ago. Find a place to come together, to see ourselves in one another, come together to share, come together to build community, come together to be inspired by one another, to have the courage to demonstrate that New Orleans was coming back, but she was coming back better, and 20 years later, we are still standing, and we are still New Orleans. So thank you, all of you who have been on fire for every year of those 20 years. I know that I have been one of them. But today is about reflection, but again, most importantly, it's about understanding how far we've come together and what we can accomplish when we work together. And then it's about being empowered and once again inspired to lead this city on for the next 20 and then the next 20. So I say, get ready for a great day. A great day, again, of building community, coming as your whole self, broken or not, but understanding as you come, we're stronger together. So again, welcome. Thank you to the K20 Commission for making this day possible, but most also importantly, all of the events, commemorative events that have happened across the city of New Orleans. That's another thing that we wanted to ensure, that all of our people in our city felt a part of the growth that we have seen, but also inspired to continue to uplift, to encourage, and to ensure that the city of New Orleans reaches her fullest potential for all of us. So with that, thank you again, and let me tell you, let's make it a great day, but as we leave this place, let's be inspired and filled with the courage that is necessary to do the work. God bless you.
All right. Well, we heard some from our mayor. The mayor had more to say, so if you're interested in hearing more from the mayor and others who spoke at the K20 Commemorative Summit, you can find that online at the Katrina 20 website, and you can also find it on YouTube as well. Want to touch base on some other things that are going on before we move to break, and then we'll have more. Over in St. Tammany, and you know, that's one of those places where, frankly, after Katrina, some of us moved, so it's not like it's a predominantly black parish or anything, but it sure is blacker than it used to be.
Oh, very much so.
And so it's an interesting situation where we have in Orleans Parish some consideration of changing the structure of our municipal government and the balance of power with the legislative branch, i.e. the city council, and the mayoral or executive branch, and how much power and authority the mayor should have and how much power and authority the city council should have in the case of New Orleans. But in some other parishes, we don't have, we have city councils and mayor form of government in specific communities. Like in our community, we might, you know, there's Gretna or there's Metairie, or up in northern Louisiana, there's Shreveport, or there's Grambling, there's Ruston, there's Monroe, West Monroe. But those aren't parish governments, and they have what's called a parish jury. And they act like a super city council. And so they are the ones responsible for the contracts, most of the contracts, as opposed to the more executive or strong mayor form of government, where you have the mayor who has that primary responsibility. Or so we think. Of course, that's been challenged
numerous
recently,
times.
But I thought I'd bring to your attention what's going on in St. Tammany Parish, because that is something that I find relative to what's been happening in Orleans. And there's a St. Tammany Parish Government Committee. It's an 11-person home rule charter review committee. And this is something that my colleague Willie Sweat reported on over at NOLA.com. The committee has recommended that the parish council have more significant power over government departments and contracts. So essentially, instead of the executive branch controlling like who would be the department head and which contracts would be let, it would be the parish council in their case. So this 11-person home rule charter review committee, which included the parish president, Mike Cooper, has recommended that the council be given more power, more authority to terminate department heads. So if they don't like the job that somebody's doing, this group says the council should be able to terminate that person, not the executive, and that they would give more power to the council to approve and remove presidential appointments to boards, commissions, and committees.
Wow.
Now, imagine that happening in New Orleans.
Wow.
And so if you have a person that we elect as mayor, and the mayor makes appointments to boards, commissions, and committees, but the city council will say, well, you made the appointment, but we reject it. In every case, or even most cases, at some point, who's going to want to be mayor? And in our case, of course, we have a more aggressive city council these days, And so there are a number of department heads that, the mayor recommends and says, this is my appointee, and the council can accept or reject. And so we, the people, decided on that because that was a charter amendment, homeroom charter amendment. And so we made that move. And so in St. Tammany, what would happen would be that the more powered city council, parish council, would approve professional service contracts over $100,000. Now, in a government, that's not a lot of money.
No, that's
which essentially means you would approve nearly all of any significant contract in St. Tammany.
When you look at it from that perspective, you have to say, why would everybody want to be mayor when you use a lot of power that goes in the mayoral seat or in the presidential seat for in this case? When you think about government, when we vote for that person and put them in that office, we as a society and we as a electorate is saying, we trust you. Now, if you don't live up to our expectations, we have the right to vote you out. So when you try to change the balance of power without an actual election, then I think that sets a precedent that's going to be very controversial.
Well, the Home Rule Charter Committee in St. Tammany is going to have a meeting this month, and they're going to be discussing these various changes. Right now, these are suggestions, these are recommendations, so it doesn't mean these things are moving forward. Some people are concerned that there wasn't enough public discussion with this 11-member group. Well, here's an opportunity for the public to be involved. And in addition to moving more of the power to the parish council, one of the things that the group has recommended is reducing the size of the parish council. So if you reduce the size, then you're talking about a smaller group of people having more authority and responsibility. So interesting developments in St. Tammany. I know a number of you listeners have been interested in, concerned about some of the changes that have been made or some of the things that are being considered in Orleans. So let's pay attention and see what's happening over in St. Tammany as we continue to watch and deal with what's happening in Orleans Parish, also known as New Orleans. All right, we're going to have to take a break. This is WBOK 1230 AM. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. We'd love to hear from you. You're hearing Eddie and Will, but we'd love to hear what you think. 504-582-9422. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, the station that New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
A front just south of us means most spots stay dry today with only a quick shower along the coast and some possible inland. Highs today near 90, but it won't feel as sticky north of I-10. Tonight, mostly clear in the 70s. Looks similar tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs back in the 90s. Less chances for rain throughout the rest of the week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show on WBOK, 1230 a.m. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. There are a number of things going on, and we'll be getting to some of those things this week. I hope we'll talk some more about the mayoral forums and debates that have happened that you can still catch, and then some others that are coming up this week and next week. And we've got news about President Trump's use of the National Guard during the Los Angeles immigration protest. Yesterday was Labor Day, but that doesn't mean everybody's off. And one of the things that happened was a judge in Washington ruled Monday that President Donald Trump's use of the National Guard during the Los Angeles immigration protest is illegal. So it was illegal, according to this judge. So the fight continues, and the battle continues for philosophy and legalities about what we can and can't do if we are the president of the United States or the governor of Louisiana or a state legislature. We've got to, figure out who's in charge.
Right. Well, as a government, we don't have an oligarchy. We don't have a dictatorship. We have a democracy. And democracy is broken down into the judicial branch, the executive branch, and the legislative branch.
Yeah.
And we cannot have one branch dominating the system. So I think the judge was right in this regard, basically saying that, we can't, have carte blanche. Now, executive branch is powerful, and, we need the executive branch, there's no doubt. But, when we disperse discipline from that position, it can't be capricious, arbitrary, or gregarious. It has to be consistent. It has to have rhyme and reason that's in line with our Constitution. Mm-hmm. So, this is a very, very interesting development, and we'll look forward to looking at, more and more developments as they come out.
Yep. So another thing that's been going on in the news, and we're going to make some time this week to look into this more. New Orleans has, like a number of small, medium, and large cities, got a great deal of help during the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and that included a infusion of funds to help municipalities, parishes, counties get through the pandemic. And so that money was not long-term money. So it was limited use, limited time, and so that's drying up. So some of the initiatives that have been funded in the city of New Orleans, that was done with COVID money, pandemic money, and so that is disappearing. So we're headed toward a $100 million deficit.
Wow.
$100 million deficit. And so part of what we should be looking at is figuring out, okay, what does that mean for the end of this mayoral administration and the beginning of a new mayoral administration? Because this would not be whoever we the voters choose. We're not putting them in office with a big surplus. We're putting them in office with a deficit. And that is a financial strain. And, a lot of that has had to do with overtime pay, and not just for police. I mean, overtime for other city workers who have had to jump in and do their jobs, and not for free.
Right.
So when you have I think it's called a Tier 1 level of protection, like during carnival season,
right,
which we had after that terrorist attack on the very first day of the year.
Right.
We had this terrorist attack with people killed and injured. You can't see that happen and not step up security, police protection, but somebody has to pay for that, and that is us. That is us. And then you look at that, and you have a carnival season. We can't pretend that didn't happen.
Right.
And you can't approach Carnival and Mardi Gras the same way. You have to say, okay, this is what we've done for years. This is how it's improved in recent years. But this year, we got to do something else. And somebody has to pay for that. And that is us. And so we've had a number of things that have happened with security measures, just to use one part of it, that we've had to pay for. But we've been fortunate enough in a number of those cases to have COVID pandemic money. And with $100 million deficit, likely, that's where we are right now. We're looking at, I know this is something that people haven't been able to get over. Forget about all the trash contract controversy. There's still people who say, I want twice a week service. I want twice a week service for what I am paying, because that's what I used to pay for. Well, the reality is that none of the districts that I'm aware of have twice a week coverage, except for one. Only one district. That's the French Quarter in CBD, downtown. And other than that, you have once a week, and that is in the contract. So it's not like these contracts have twice a week. They don't. So one of the things that is being discussed is increasing the monthly sanitation fee.
Yeah.
And that's not increased with twice a week service.
No.
That's increasing the monthly sanitation fee as a part of making up for a part of this $100 million deficit. So as we get deeper and deeper into the campaign season, with the election coming around at October 11th, with early voting September 27th, one of the things that all of us need to be aware of is, with a deficit, how are you going to manage us through this? How are you going to lead us through this? It's a wonderful thing to say, when I'm mayor, I'm going to have this and I'm going to have that. So the question is, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, it's one of the things that's very important for the department heads. You know, one of the things what we forgot to talk about, too, the Super Bowl.
Yes,
the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
We had to increase, you know, and being a former department head, because even though you're the chief of police, you're a department head.
Yep.
You know, it's very important to utilize your resources to their optimal efficiency. You know, one of the things that I did when called for service times, instead of trying to increase manpower, we didn't have the manpower, I put people that was working in desk responsibilities on the street one day a week. I said, you have to do your job that you're doing in 5 days, in 4 days. And having worked in 11 different places, I know that if you do your job proficiency and efficiently, you know, you can get 1 day a week to go on the streets. And I had those guys and ladies handling calls for service for basically traffic accidents and regular reports. And so there we didn't impact our budget, but we kept our services. So each of these department heads at the mayor appoints going to have to be extremely creative. And when you utilize the resources to optimal efficiency, you get a bigger bang for your buck. And when somebody is running on a platform where they're going to be efficient, well, show me how. You know, when I brought district commanders in, I would ask them, I'd give them worst case scenarios. How you going to fix this? And I wanted them to come up with creative ideas. You know, like when you got 30 captains on the police department and you only have 8 commanders, that's the top of the line. They get 10% more. They get the best cars. They get a lot of power. Well, earn that power. I'd say, okay. They'd say, well, you know, Chief, you know, we don't have enough manpower. I said, we had enough manpower. Anybody could be a district commander.
Yeah, right.
Anybody could be a district commander. Show me what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So you have to be creative. And by me being
it's your responsibility.
It's your responsibility. And by me being a district commander, I knew that there was always going to be problems.
Right.
So that's why you got to put the best and the brightest. So when you're picking somebody for these positions, especially in the position of mayor, you got to look at their track record, what they're saying.
Right.
You know, what have they done this in the past? You know, so that's one good thing about experience. It has something, but maybe somebody may not have experience in government and in the private sector. Well, what did they do then? Right. So, you know, so when you're asking these questions, you know, be hard.
Absolutely. $100 million is no small nickel, dime, penny, or quarter kind of deficit. So that's a big gap, and we're going to have to stay on top of this and talk about it in the coming days. Keep that in mind as we have this election coming up on October 11th. We thank you for joining us today. In particular, we want to thank Tia Suggs, the program director for the Dillard University Center for Racial Justice, and Mr. Paris Allen, Jr. at Dillard University, who's a part of the Center for Racial Justice. They've got a couple of big events coming up on Thursday at 12 noon till 2 p.m. with the Vote HBCU event, and then later that day at 7 p.m. in the Georges Auditorium, they'll have a voter participation panel discussion. And we want to thank those of you who listen to us on AM radio, those of you who listen to us on the internet, and those of you who have listened and watched us on Facebook Live. We see you, Linda and Kerwin, Anita, Chuck, Patrice, Fern, Andrew. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Thanks for all of you all who wanted to call and didn't call. You're going to have another chance tomorrow. Lord willing, we'll be back in this place. Meanwhile, you got to get ready for Kimba and Graylin with the Front Porch. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, the station that New Orleans is talking about all day long.